Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle, Desrochers, and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 from the Gulf and 107.7 FM from beautiful New Orleans. We're fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been a part of our journey since the very beginning. And we're 425 plus episodes in. So we are so humbled and grateful for you, Folgers. Thank you. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon. And it's his voice and his music that you just heard for the intro that you just heard. I'll be all right. Anyway, he is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, and sci-fi, dark wave electronic music, available on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. Also, huge thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the banners and logos at the show. Check him out on Facebook and Instagram. Also specializes in the horror genre, but can do any sort of commission piece. Beautiful, beautiful work. I have some, so just saying. Anyway, we are proud to announce that we are sponsoring an upcoming event in Toronto called Contact and Disclosure Symposium 2024. This is going to be the first year. It takes place on April the 20th. Time will be 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Off-World Bar in Toronto. So check it out. Check out their website. I'll flash it up there at some point during the show, or just go to the website, michelledesrochers.com. There's a whole thing on upcoming news there, and check out their guests as it's, gets made to me. It'll get made to you guys. Also, for the second year running, we are happy to say we're sponsoring the Halifax Paranormal Symposium, and it's going to be held Saturday, October the 12th of 2024 at the Halifax Tower Hotel and Conference Center. Basically 9 to 6. So it's a day event as well. So putting it out there nice and early because you're going to the East Coast. So that takes a little bit of planning. Anyway, tonight I'm really excited, in case you can't tell, because I am welcoming a really dear friend for like at least a decade, probably more. And she's also a fellow UPRN host here. And her show is the Spirit Switchboard, which is on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern. And she's everybody loves her. You can't not love her.
No.
The way it is. So Kerrilynn Shellhorn. And we're going to be talking about a lot of fun stuff, pretty much everything we talk about pretty regularly, which is high strangeness and paranormal and stuff of that nature. And I don't know what the heck just happened to this board, but what the hell is that? What is this stuff?
It's all good. It's all good.
It's all like, yeah.
Bubble gone.
Anyway, Kerrilynn, welcome.
Hi.
Hi. So nice to officially meet you. I do listen to your show sometimes. I really like it. And I love the name of the show. And your energy is fantastic.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
very much. It was very awesome starting Spirit Switchboard, and finding a name is hard. Like choosing a name for a show is hard. Like you're searching other people's, and then in my head, to be honest with you, which is fun because I was talking with Sean Kelly about this, who's also a UPRN host, right? And he's like, where did you come up with that? And I'm like, well, I just kept thinking about, oh gosh, now I'm going to have a brain fart.
You were talking about show names. Yeah,
the switchboard operators from
the old-fashioned days.
Yeah, from Keanu Reeves movie.
I used to do that when I was 14.
From the Matrix? Which
No,
movie?
you have to plug in.
The
You
late
plug in.
one? Yeah, I know. That's from the
The latest
19th.
one.
Had them, right?
The-
Yeah, the whole hotel switchboards.
Yes. But the Keanu Reeves movie, they're all these like, they're stunning with their tattooed sleeves and
Oh, you're talking about John Wick.
John Wick.
John Wick.
Yeah, that I know.
That's all I
Yeah.
kept seeing in my head. I mean,
Yeah.
we're connecting all the spirits and everything else, but I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it would just be so fun.
They
to
are
have that.
pretty sexy, those
Aren't they?
switchboard operators. Yeah.
Yeah.
The films are great. Part 2
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah.
You can bypass it. You won't miss anything.
Oh.
But yeah, that's a great series to think of.
Yeah, so that's all I kept thinking about were these.
Right.
Except-
I think it was a great name, and the show is doing exceptionally well, and you have phenomenal guests, and it's just fun and lighthearted because you're like Bubbles. You're just like all giddy and giggly all the
Yeah.
time, and I'm just like,
Because I kind of feel like it's Christmas every day. Like I wonder,
Right?
and I tell everybody,
I found
like,
my soulmate.
yeah. I wonder what's going to happen today.
I found my soulmate.
yeah,
Did
yeah.
you decorate early too?
Yes,
yeah.
for every holiday.
I love you.
Lily Tomlin.
Yes,
So amazing.
I love Lily Tomlin, and that's the truth.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. One ringy
So-
dingy.
I mean, I'm glad that you came on board because it's just the show is incredible. You're incredible, and it adds so much to the network. And I
Thank
could
you.
say that not just as your friend, because I would say it anyway, but just as your manager, I could say no. You know what I mean? You bring a lot
Yeah, I think
to the network. So
I had a lot of stress. I made a lot of stress for myself, letting that itty bitty shitty thing in up here, Chihuahua
Yeah.
brain took over
right.
for about 6 months, actually. Like I would say it's only been the last couple of months where I've really just felt relaxed into it, like that responsibility to the guest, responsibility to the other hosts and the network, and
That just becomes a routine. 'Cause
yeah, and now that's where I'm at.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mess up the station ID and I do that twice a week. So, it just happens. And it
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, fumble. Did you hear my intro? So, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
I've
and I-
butchered names.
I've
Oh
been
my
doing it
gosh.
forever.
I
So-
did that to Jeff Belanger as well.
See, and I want to
and
call
could-
him Belanger. So I'm glad you said that because
Yeah,
I would have done that because I know Michelle.
Yes. So I practiced and then still did it wrong. Still did it wrong.
So he goes by Belanger,
Belanger.
not Belanger.
No,
So there's no French in him at all.
no.
I know sometimes you just marry a name that's, you get kind of becomes a professional name and you kind of get stuck with it. Okay.
I stuck to
Wait,
my
did I say that out
maiden
loud in
name.
front of millions of people?
Yes, I stuck to my maiden name for about 1 million reasons. And I'm grateful that I did because I hear that from everybody in the industry that's been out there longer than me. I hear it all the time. I'm like, wow, thank God. Someone said something to me when I was starting out and said, because my daughter also was on television at the time and I was working a lot of serious missing kid cases and drugs and stuff like that. So I opted for my maiden name and then I stayed that way. I didn't go back when she was older because I thought, well, 1 million reasons, but we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you.
Wait.
Oh no, it's a conversation, right? It's fun. And Wayne.
My parents are going to call me Marsha.
You meant
Oh,
Marsha.
Marsha.
Oh boy. No, we are actually live.
We're here.
We're
Contessa.
live.
Hi,
I love
Contessa.
that. Contessa. I love
Yes.
that name.
Recorded shows only happen once in a while, so we're good.
The show tomorrow, like the Spirit Switchboard, is the pre-recorded, or it's a replay. So
Right.
I mean,
It's
you
a
may have seen
holiday
that. Yeah,
tomorrow.
you may have
Yes.
seen that advertised as well.
No, exactly. So
It's going to happen on the holidays.
tonight we are live, and wow, Kerrilynn, let's just talk about, because we both grew up north, right?
Yeah.
So we knew like a lot of crazy stuff
You
happened.
two are
up north.
crazy girls.
Well,
all the way out in the
Northern
bush.
Ontario, yes, the bush girls.
Yeah.
I think that Northern Ontario, I don't know if they breed intuitive mediums. Like there's a lot of very sensitive people from up north, and
A lot of nature.
You just have to travel for them.
It's a lot of nature, though.
Yeah,
it's a lot of nature. You're grounded.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the land, all of it. And I love it up there. I love it. That's where my heart is for sure. Along the northern shore of Lake Superior for sure. And I don't, the stories and things that I grew up with were mostly like my grandfather was a hunter and a trapper, like welder, pipe fitter, hands-on kind of guy, but he was always in the bush. So his stories were always those sorts of, be careful of the growly things. And sometimes the growly things can be shapeshifters as well too. So I was always interested in all of that stuff and had those kind of we did have high strangeness experiences growing up north for sure.
Did you have UFO sightings like Michelle?
So it was different though. Like my brother had the experience. I didn't have the experience when we were younger until I would say
I was in denial. Is this something else you can comment?
Oh yeah, in denial.
No.
I was totally in denial. So this is where Spirit Switchboard has really opened my eyes up to a lot of different things, right? And looking at past experiences from a different perspective, which brought me to like last summer's, existential crisis that I was having about the owls So then I was messaging my sister and my brother going, do you guys remember the owls? And my sister and I were on the same page. My brother's like, no, but this is the experience I had with the UFO. And, and we all knew my brother's story and what he saw. But for us, we just had weird experiences with owls.
And that takes me right to the film The Fourth Kind. When anyone says owls and ET, I'm like, why is it? And they kind of have that shape and
the fourth kind. That's all I'm going to say.
And I don't care what anyone says. That's a true damn story. They're trying to hide it and say it's not. Nope. Well, I felt something watching that.
It would be a really good representation if you think about it, with the eyes and the shape of the face, because grays do have that shape of the face and the big eyes, because you never allowed to, well, I won't say you never allowed to remember. Some people are very vivid with their, remembering with their memories of being taken or contact. And then there's some who don't remember a dang thing. So you see something and you associate with it. Or if it's a screen memory, for example, and that's what they're putting into your head, that's what you would see.
I think they know I'm a blabbermouth and they don't let me remember anything. I don't know. Because I would tell Michelle right away, I'm not a blabbermouth. I keep things because I work with missing children, stuff like that. I cannot be a blabbermouth. I'm just in case somebody out there is listening that I work with.
And there's, the difference, and that comes into your integrity and what you're bringing forward with your job. As mediums and remote viewers, we know what to keep to ourselves and what we can share, and those personal experiences we can put those out. And I would say I'm definitely having more memories coming to the surface because I'm in the place of allowing it and more ready to have those memories. But
and when do you think that started for you?
The memories or the contact?
Based on your memories, when do you think contact started for you?
Oh, very little. Under 5.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
under 5.
Oh my Lord.
Right. And what's your first recollection?
What's my first recollection?
Yeah, what was your first memory? What was like your first experience that you believe was your first experience? What was it like?
Oh, do we? I knew that the alien stuff was gonna come up tonight, so I was.
You know
That was my fault.
My shit comes up.
Yeah.
You have to bring yours up.
You can zap me with energy. That was my fault that I said it. I was just curious because being up north, everybody who lives up there has always said they've
Especially
seen
out where
either
you
a
were,
craft
Kerrilynn.
or, they've
I
always,
know.
they've seen
Lake
lights,
Superior?
not necessarily an experience or contact, but they see something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. I think that it's more for me. The hesitation's not so much about me sharing. It's also I'm recently made more consciously aware that my it also outs some of my family.
Right.
At the
That I
same time
understand.
too, right?
So
Yeah.
And
you can just speak little bits of people. Like don't bring anybody else into it.
No,
That's
just your own personal.
for you.
So I would say under 5, but I just remember floating and it just floating down the hall. And what triggered part of that was a conversation that I had with my son who had the same experience. And then when I tried to talk to my mom to see if she had any memories, to see if this is like coming generationally from,
Well, it is
mom to
generational.
kid.
Like
Yes.
family lines,
Yes. Which,
right?
yes, did not trigger some happy conversations.
Oh, yeah,
with
because then the
our
parents sort of
family.
have to say, well, because I actually, and I'm grateful I did, I asked my mom before she passed, I said, do you have any recollection? Because I knew my grandparents did. I knew my father did, so that took care of that side of the family. And she enlightened me to a lot of different things, which was good because I was still on that journey of rediscovery, I guess. Oh, Joe, why don't you just come in?
Because it's easier than reading all your messages. Yeah,
Reading
you're
your
very
messages
fortunate.
better.
You're
Coming from the guy
fortunate
who eats
that way.
everything. Yeah.
You're fortunate that you were able to have that
Oh,
conversation.
for sure.
Yeah.
That your mom was open to having that conversation as well too is
Yes.
good.
Yes.
Oh, her mom was open. I
She-
mean, I loved when she was in chat. Like, I just loved her.
My mom was always that person. And I think where people are lucky if they have a parent like that, because the father's usually the one who's logical and says, no, it's the house settling. There's nothing going on. Don't be silly. My mother's like, why don't we just set a place at the table for your imaginary friend?
Yeah. Mine was the opposite in my house. It was my dad who was more.
Our house was pretty volatile too, honestly. Like there was a lot of stuff going on in our house. So, those memories of what was real and what wasn't real and where's their trauma and where was this? And it's a lot to, unravel and unpack. And so I think it's gotten easier to kind of go back to that at the place where I'm at now and have those conversations coming from a different place with my siblings. And it's interesting coming back to those conversations with them now. My sister remembers a lot more and she doesn't want to remember. She doesn't want to, but she's open to having the conversations as well too.
That's good. At least you have someone you can talk to and speak about a shared experience or not shared. And
my sister's very funny.
Yeah. And then but it won't go anywhere. Like you can trust her.
Oh no. Are you kidding? My sister is a blabbermouth.
Oh, is she? So maybe she's like not supposed to have these memories.
She's so straight faced and will come out and throw a zinger out at you.
That's totally.
Yeah.
She totally. We're getting together this Saturday. We're gonna do, a little haunted walk and get together. And my sister, she does not like it when I drag her into these things. And
really?
Oh no, but she comes and then I get phone calls from my mom. Make sure that you're protecting your sister. And I'm like, okay.
No, I'm just gonna let her hang, Mom.
How about maybe my sister should be protecting me?
Oh yeah, or maybe we'll see how much chocolate my sister brings me, and then we'll see if I'll protect her.
Yeah.
And that do we have here? LOL, Bolson. Hi, Ed.
I know.
You don't usually shout in the chat room.
I know. I'm excited.
I went to look and I'm like, I can't even see out of these damn glasses, but yeah,
no, it's good.
I saw the Tips top hat and I knew it was him.
My brother's experience was like it was an orange ball of light that was behind the barn, and he said like he tried to that he was going to come back to get his camera so that he could go get a picture to try to take a picture of it, but it was like all missing time. And that's what I have as an adult. Twice that happened to me as an adult is missing time in traveling back and forth. So I have
the missing time thing is always interesting because I mean, how do you justify that? I've had people try to explain it to me. I see, I've never noticed missing time with myself, but mind you, I'm always so over the top busy. I would not notice it because I don't watch the clock all the time. I'm always got my nose in something. But when I have had people try to explain it to me, you know, they're just like, well, I don't know. I was driving here and then all of a sudden I was here and you can't get there that fast. It's probably the easiest way.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happened. And it happened down here, which surprised me when that did happen. It, like in Southern Ontario. So I was coming from Woodstock back to Guelph and I don't remember driving from Woodstock to Guelph, and it normally would take 45 minutes ish. And it was well over an hour by the time.
See, I must have been taken by accident and they thought, oh hell, we're not keeping her because I got there faster.
And the other was on the other side, like almost at Perry Sound or almost Sudbury.
Another crazy area
between Perry Sound and Sudbury. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's another really crazy.
A lot. I've had a lot of weird things happen when I'm traveling to Sault Ste. Marie.
A lot of water, a lot of land,
a long drive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've done Sault Ste. Marie from down south. I'm just like, oh my God, I could probably be halfway to Florida right now. Just like,
holy crap.
There's not a lot out there, you know.
That's a drive. It's easier to fly there.
And it's a nice drive though.
Yeah, I'm not that person that you want to be in the car with that long. Like, because I have to drive by myself.
I'm always by myself. So
like I gotta run to the bathroom every 20 minutes because I drink so much coffee. Like, you do not want me in the car. Yeah, I'll go with your sister. We'll take a train or something. Serious. I'd rather, if I can fly somewhere, I will buy a ticket. That's who I am. I love being in a plane. But if I have to drive hours, I just drove from here to, where did I go? Grove City. I was annoyed the whole time. My poor girlfriend. I'm like, oh my God, how long is this drive? Like, seriously. And you're talking and you're having fun, but it's like every rest stop is like, oh, I got 2 more hours. Like
the drive is like a vacation for me.
Oh, not me.
I do. I think part of the fun is the travel and, you know, not just so much getting to the destination, but especially when you're going through some hot spots and, you know, because I think back in the day, especially up north, we didn't have satellites back then. So when you saw something, right, you really saw something. We would see things in the valley. Well, there isn't any satellites up there at that time.
Yeah. Now I really want to go up north.
And then even north from the Sioux, like between Sault Ste. Like
Wawa, that freaking hill.
Yeah, Mile Hill.
Oh yeah, I know. I had an encounter with like 2 moose at 2:00 in the morning.
Let me ask our audience: are you even at all interested in going after the way they've been talking about it?
Oh, there's so much like
that hill, and it's crazy. Anyone who's scared is not going to want to go.
No, but
I know that Bigfoot, like Sasquatch, lots of stories of that up there. Yeah, lots of stories of that.
Okay, have you had one?
I haven't. My dad tells the story though, that there was one in behind his house and my stepmother's house, and they're on one of the reserves outside of Sault Ste. Marie, and that number of people from the reservation saw a bipedal tall something pulling a hind quarter of a moose behind it on a hunting bluff. And when I said, Dad, do you think anybody will take me out there? And he's like, are you crazy? Do you want to die from a hungry Sasquatch?
That is so funny.
As long as somebody catches it on camera, that would be epic.
Right? It's funny though, like, but that's the first thing that comes to his mind. Would you want to die?
Yeah.
Maybe,
You know?
maybe
insane.
a helicopter ride.
Oh no, I would go out.
I would go out. Yeah.
Ugh. No.
Mhm.
This actually did happen.
Yeah. Let me read this because
Perry
Wayne said,
Sound. Hello.
driving with Michelle to Perry Sound, not Sudbury.
What we're calling to Sudbury through Perry Sound.
Okay. And she looks out the window and quietly says,
To myself.
there are a lot of in them ones.
And it's true. You could
There
just see
is.
it. It was
You can
dark
feel it.
out and you know, you just know. You just know there's some parts where you have eyes on you.
Yes. Well, so in one of the weirdness, not sure what it was. And so now, since my existential crisis last summer and where I'm at now with aliens and all of that, looking at my experience differently, at the time, I was really sort of coming out of the witchy closet and doing a lot of teaching and a lot of sessions, and all of that was happening. And I was taking a trip up north. I was by myself. It was late. It was probably close to midnight. I was in the weird stretch. I was in the weird stretch. And not quite like just before Sudbury in that weird stretch.
Yeah, near Britt and Albin coming out that way. There's a long nothing.
Motel is that's been
torn down,
empty forever.
I know, that's Britt.
Yeah, right there. What happened? And I was tired, and I looked to my right of the passenger side, and there was a white, not translucent, but white deer that was matching the speed of my car running along beside, but not looking forward, looking in at me. Like, so I'm looking at it and it's looking at me, and we're moving at the same speed.
Interesting.
And then, but it was comforting. It wasn't scary. It didn't freak me out. It felt comforting to me. Like I didn't feel as tired after. I felt like I was going to make it to the rest of the way home, like to the zoo. So I thought it was a spirit guide,
like an animal totem, maybe like that sort of thing.
Something. It was, but it came in the shape of a deer, and looking at me and matching this speed. And then another time driving in that sort of section, there was a light out in because it's boggy in that, like there's those big boggy sections.
Yes.
So I noticed this little orange ball of light, and then a little bit after, then this owl came right at the windshield, and then was just gone, like just flew right up, and then was gone. One more owl thing.
This is from Joe. So
Joe says, waking memories are to remind you that something did happen to you.
Did you have missing time on that?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Screw you, Joe. I know. Dear, go ahead. I'm just doing this myself. Go ahead.
I know. No, it's okay. Dear Totem is a sign that you are a gentle person.
Well, I'd like to think I am.
Yes. Yeah.
I would like to think I am.
Every now and then, though, you just grrr.
But my grrs don't even last long. You know, like I just don't. I don't sit in that.
I wish mine didn't last long. Takes me a lot to get there, but then I can't get out because I just start and I'm ready to kill. But.
Jackie White, I do a quick shout out. I saw you had made a comment about my sister being up there.
Yeah. Here, I'll read that. I'll read that. I was reading that when you were speaking. She said, I loved you when you had your sister on your show. She was a good sport to participate in your chats and your family memories of early paranormal experience. It was quite humorous to see you recall things together.
I
I
got to
imagine it
produce that
probably was
show,
fun.
so I
Yeah.
enjoyed that show tremendously. I think you guys should do it again.
I think so too. I would love to have, and so we're gonna do a couple of things. We're doing the haunted kind of crawl this weekend, and there's a couple of other things I'm gonna do with her, and then she's gonna come on so we can talk about the things that we did.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because she's got no filter. She's so deadpan. She delivers so
That's what I'm
deadpan.
saying. It's just totally, and all of a
she's like-
sudden, this zinger comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And she thinks that she acts like I have 8 heads because I'm having all of these like experiences, but she does too. She just doesn't want to go
Does she
there.
acknowledge it? Or does she
No.
just, or no, she just doesn't want to believe it's
Yeah.
happening.
Well, she buries her head in the sand way more than I do, you know.
Right.
And
right.
then she's got her children. Like our children are the same. So
Right.
her children are having experiences. So my sister will say, so somebody started talking to me last night. And I went, a dead person or a living person? She said, no, it was like a spirit. And I said, how did you handle it? She said, I told them, my sister lives down the street. Go there.
Nice. Throws you under the bus. I love it. That's what sisters do, dang it. Throw you under
They
the
probably
bus.
went to you because the rule is they don't bug me in my bedroom. They're not allowed to wake me up in the middle of the night.
Right.
My bedroom is a no-go zone.
I just think it's funny. I love it, though. I love it.
That is funny.
Oh.
Sisters down the street. My girlfriend, if something sounds off, she's like, I'm going to send you to Amelia's house. I'm like, okay, relax.
Yeah.
Do you find that it's easier, and I'll use your sister for an example, it's easier to accept spirit stuff, but like with people on average, but ET stuff, because I've had people say, I believe in spirits, but I don't believe in ETs at all. They won't.
Right. And you have been much more open in those conversations, and that's something that I'm just starting to have conversations about, right? So
Right.
I've had people say, oh, I don't believe in Sasquatch, but I have believed in Sasquatch from the time I was little. I would be out there looking
Right.
for them, wanting those experiences to happen. And I have always thought, if I am saying that I'm talking to people that are crossed over, why isn't there that possibility? I am that, like, anything is possible. Of course, it's all possible. So I have believed in it. I think that more people are starting to get on board with that. But for sure, if it's belief systems, if it's experiences passed down, traumas, whatever that is, that puts a hard divide between one and the other. I don't know. I just
Right.
like it. If I say that I'm talking to your grandma, then why can't an ET come in, or why can't there be Mothman? You know, like,
No, it's true.
there's just so much I think that we don't know, and that we can't know all the answers to. We can be open to and investigate it all we want, but it's just a rabbit hole that we're all going down, right?
Oh, our guest last night, Ron Morehouse, author of Bigfoot Unveiled. He's also the author of Quantum Bigfoot, and he believes everything. They just vibrate at a different vibration. It's just a density thing, that they are fully ahead of us. And he said something very fascinating to me, which you guys might find interesting, is that the way we can use our vocals to do, different pitches and things like that. There's not another animal, mammal on the planet that can do that at all. Like, people can do that. I mean, birds talk amazingly, but they don't have a voice box, right? Dolphins, they make their own unique sounds.
Right.
But there is one other like being on this planet that can do that, and that is Bigfoot, which sort of gives it a bit of a human element.
Right.
Right? So I thought, you know what? Shit, that was cool.
That is cool.
He has some fascinating evidence. He's incredible.
I know.
Interesting. So does he feel it's just layers of different vibrations on top of each other that pop in
It's all
back and forth.
frequency. Yeah, he believes they can, it's like a portal. They can use it with a thought. And I said, "Well, what are your thoughts on it?" Oh, so they definitely like they're faster than we are, in time. So whether it's seconds or minutes, like this is why, you can see them come up and they just footprints just stop and they're gone. Where do they go? They couldn't even have jumped, that far. Like they don't pick up anywhere. And they live in trees. They have an incredible relationship with trees.
So that I get.
Right.
That I get. And there was a year and a bit when my youngest will be 19 in a few months. So when he was little, when he was about 2, we were back in Sault Ste. Marie for a year and a bit. And we had this tree on the property that talked, like, and I know pareidolia, I get it. I get all of that stuff, but there were definite faces on this tree, but the tree actually talked. And
But
so
it's a sentient being. Like they're living beings.
You could feel it when it was sending healing into the house. And so our neighbors were Indigenous. There was a backstory to the house and who was living in the house prior to us that was also had Indigenous background to it. So I don't know if that played a part in it or not, but I know that the Catholic Italian neighbors across the street looked at me side eye because I would go out there full moons. I'm out there hugging the tree, like yanking the tree. Right. They're like, oh.
but I mean, why can people not think that they can communicate? They communicate through their root system. I think if you're a gifted individual, why couldn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're devout in any religion, you're going to look at that like it's nuts.
Oh, for sure. There was some.
They're not open-minded. Yeah.
Yeah. And my daughter is like, I'm never going to get invited to birthday parties. The neighborhood is talking.
Yeah, but the mothers all love you. Never mind. The mothers, as soon as they find out what you do, they're all up in your face.
Oh, so that's pretty interesting too, though. Like, I worked out of a place here in Southern Ontario, and there was a lot of backlash from the Catholic community about me being there. And then where I am here in Guelph, the one high school asks me to donate to their charity fundraisers because I'm like a big draw for them. Yep. So it's very interesting who wants to say yes and who wants to say
yeah. Again, it's open-mindedness, and it's
okay. I'm just going to put up some comments before we get and questions before we get too far ahead. We'll start here. Linda.
Faith-inspired transformation. Do you think there are portals in northern and southwestern Ontario?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think they're everywhere, worldwide. Ancient people built around these areas for a reason. Okay, we'll get to everybody. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, I gotta get close for this one.
The comment? Yeah.
Jennifer says, "Hi, Jennifer Frost Casista." Wow, what a beautiful last name. I have a thing with S's. I had an episode deer in my truck on my way home from work. The deer was right at my window while I was driving. It should have smashed into my vehicle. All of a sudden, it was gone. I never thought of animal totem, as I really wasn't thinking of any of this back then. There you go.
There you go. Right here.
Yes. And the same person, Faith, right? Same one. I've always thought Bigfoot was human. Caveman who got brought to this timeline when UFO rips a space-time portal. They're here by mistake. That's interesting. Just her thought, her opinion. It's an interesting thought and opinion because nobody really knows anything.
Right. Well, I mean, Ron last night had his ideas with that, and I think that I think there are portals everywhere. That's why you see them everywhere. They're on all different parts of the world. They are, they used to, Tamara was just saying last night that there are stories of them actually doing trading with indigenous people all over the world.
Yeah.
So when did that stop? Now we have this fear.
I had a guest on Spirit Switchboard and an indigenous man from Vancouver, and that's what his culture believes as well too, and what he preaches. And he is very much not open to talking about them being telepathic or having connection to UFOs. He feels it's a race that has moved away from us. And
Interesting. Because I asked him, I said, do you feel, because there's a lot of stories even down as far as Peru with them. I said, do you feel that they are the giants that maybe the indigenous people have oral history about being in battle with? He goes, no, there were actually a whole other race of giants beyond Bigfoot. Like the Kansas giant. There's like there's tons of them. They're just not as hairy, I guess, but considerably bigger as well. So I found that was very fascinating, because I said, do you find this is just another form of primitive man? Or what do you make when primatologists say, oh no, this is another form of an ape? He goes, apes don't do the same vocalization. He does the Sierra sounds, which is just science has actually gotten on board with his research of quantum physics and Bigfoot based on the sounds that he has collected. Thanks to him, science is saying, yeah, no, we're all about it.
Yeah. He's a fantastic guest.
Okay, so that's what I was laughing at when you were talking. So I'm sorry if that looked rude, but I was reading Joe's comment.
That's okay. You can read it.
Well, I was reading it off to the side and it made me laugh when you were talking. So I'm sorry.
Oh my.
He's like, no one wants to portal to Canada, even Bigfoot in his south.
That's because Joe's like, oh, the bad eating with the swamp ape. Like, you just eat anything that moves, man. Like, we always read about it.
Seriously. Edel says not only ley lines, but the poles, magnetic lines there as well. Closer to the poles, the more powerful. Would you agree? I've never been to the North Pole, so I don't know.
I think it's all energy.
Yeah, but I know ley lines for sure, like working along ley lines, it's increased as well too. Like, just like if I was working near water or where there's limestone, like it just seems to be energetically charged. So I would assume it would be.
I almost built my house in limestone. Thank God I couldn't find a bricklayer that would do it.
It would, you just wouldn't be okay.
I'd be in a padded room. That's all I'm going to say.
So I do an event out of a limestone building, and it is like I can't even keep up. It's like, oh, they're just through all night.
Like, it amplifies everything.
I wanted it so bad because I love the stone, but there wasn't a bricklayer that would touch it because it breaks while they're using it and it doesn't last long. I'm like, oh, thank God. Once I understood, I went, oh, thank God. There's a reason for everything. Catherine Four Feathers, how are you? Yes, I agree, Michelle. Portals are everywhere. And I agree with Ron. The Sasquatch has always been here long before humans. I agree.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree as well. I think there's just a lot of beings here that we don't realize that we share space with. And you guys could probably agree, because he said, just even within our dimension and how dimensions cross one another, there are things that are constantly within our space that if you were really open, you'd see it all. And even a lot of it is not pleasant to see. Right. And it's just like, yeah, I could completely see why some people just want to go about their lives and not open up their mind's eye.
Well, and there's a lot of people that just want to see light and don't want to see dark. They just want to believe that there's angels and fairies and there's nothing, that's going to be growly. Like they just don't want to be open to that concept. Earlier this week, did you guys find that energy was kind of, and I don't mean wonky, I know that we've got all kinds of stuff that's going on in planetary, but I asked a couple of people if they had a weird experience where it felt like things were like almost slow-mo, like in a movie, like everything else was slow-mo, but we're moving
felt like a big warble.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has anything to do with the
Monday and
upcoming
Tuesday.
eclipse. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was like a big.
Yeah.
No, my equilibrium was off a little bit. Wayne complained that his equilibrium was off a little bit.
Yeah.
You know,
but that's when I was like,
tired.
okay, now I should be seeing something. If it's like all wobbly like this, that means I'm ready to see, show me what you got, who's going to show up kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have so much coming on. There's a lot of CMEs taking place right now. We've got the eclipse coming up. You know, Niagara Falls bracing for millions of people, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. The roads are being shut down.
I feel
they're saying give yourself 48 hours to get into the area.
Aren't you glad you're out of there?
Rooms are bad rooms. Apparently, are going for about $1,000.
Well, on an average, is $600 a night there.
There was a merchant today who said, he goes, I guess they in communication with the the BIA, and they're saying, oh no, like. Because, you know, the stories have been saying about 1 million people coming to the area. And they're like, oh, no, there's probably going to be like at least close to double the population of Toronto. Prepare. So they're shutting down stuff all over the place.
I'm just like 15 million people in Toronto.
Wonderful.
They can only accommodate so many people, or you're going to have tent cities in
They're
Niagara.
going to stay on the outskirts of everywhere. They're shutting things down, not allowing vehicles in the core. It's going to be, pretty wild.
I bet those hotels and the Airbnbs were booked a long time ago. It's not like you didn't know it was coming. So
for why though?
I don't get it, because personally I try to stay out of anything that
they're having concerts and they're having some Guinness World Book Records something going on for costuming or something. Like they're making a really big deal out of all of this. So now there's like all of this stuff going on,
but they're making the kids not go to school, some of them.
Yep. PA day on the Monday.
Some school, because they don't want to be liable if anything happens with their eyes. But I mean,
didn't we all have to go to school? I remember going to school.
We went to school. We were just kept inside.
Yep. So that's basically what
we all survived, and we ate cookies on the bus, and we didn't, have trouble.
Yeah, I drank out of a hose.
Hose. Yeah.
That may be contributing to your frequency and all this crazy stuff, as the people are
crazy.
I know.
And crazy people don't know they're crazy.
We have a lot of enthusiasm out there, Bubbles.
Yeah, it's, you know what? I can't even go. I can't. I really can't. Like I can't.
Enthusiasm.
I can't watch the news. I can't go on social media. I'm at that point where I'm just trying to self-contain everything.
Amelia's being delicate right now, guys. She's in a delicate state.
Yeah.
So I didn't really watch the news either. I think it was Ed. So it was Ed had made posts about the bridge that.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what it was till like a day. I had to.
I know.
Search for it.
Amelia sent me a video.
It was it was on X, and I got it right after it happened, because already all the conspiracy theories were out there. And you know how I feel about that, because I work in crime and I just look at things a little bit differently. I'm the one who says, no, we have to prove that it's, you have to look at both sides of it. You can't say that this is a conspiracy theory. This isn't. I'm not going to say what I think about it, because I don't want to get ripped from YouTube, because I am not an investigator. I am not the CIA. And yes, I'm not them. So I really don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I just wanted
when we work this way, we look for the evidential pieces.
Yes, exactly.
It's so important that we're looking for the evidential pieces when we're working as a medium, when we work doing remote viewing, we're looking for evidential pieces.
Exactly. Well said. And I got a lot of people sending me messages on why are these explosions happening on the bridge? And I said, well, it's lined with lights. You're going to see flares when something's splitting. It's ripping the wires apart. And those lights were flashing beforehand, because it was actually flashing 4 boats that pass. But there's a lot to that story. I'm not going to talk about it because, like I said, I know nothing.
This really just started with, I don't watch the news either. Let's just go back to that.
Yeah. That was on X. That was on X. That wasn't even what I saw in the news. So automatically you get everyone. Some people are just really good theorists, like they're phenomenal investigators and researchers. And some people, they just want you to like them or follow them. So you have to be careful.
We still have to, exactly. We can look, we have to stay open-minded skeptics, even if we are intuitive and connect, right? But
always, because it could go the other way as well, and that makes it really hard.
Everything's balanced, right?
I think the thing is being okay to say when you're presented with information that's evidential, to say, okay, so I'm seeing this from your perspective now and I understand. Like being okay to concede if there's information presented.
Absolutely. I just think it's a dangerous place for someone who has depression or is still reeling from the big C and the lockdowns and everything. To see something like that is hazardous to their health, literally. But I will say, I don't believe it is what it looks like. And I believe that it should be, they should dig deep. That's just my opinion on it.
Contessa,
I'm not implicating anyone. No 3-letter agencies here. I'm just saying. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Contessa, so she just made a comment when I heard about the bridge from my son. The first thing I thought of was the Mothman movie.
Me too, Contessa. I love Mothman. I was like,
where's the Mothman image?
Yeah.
We need to see.
Maybe he was photoshopped out. Who knows?
Don't add
Not far from Mount Pleasant.
We're trying to calm the conspiracy theory. Don't add to
it. Well,
Mothman's
a good guy. He's a superhero. He brings news to help and prevent. That's how I see him.
If people are open to hearing and open to seeing, right?
Our audience is open to Mothman. We've had quite a few shows talking about Mothman. Yeah. But I'm just saying, dig. That's all I'm saying. Dig. And when you think it's not so, keep digging because you're going in the right direction.
Agreed.
It was heartbreaking to watch. That's all I'm going to say. 6 people on a bridge lost their lives because of that. And they were tugboat out just a few hundred yards before that bridge.
Yes. Yeah. It's hard to take. Okay.
Okay, Faith. I've got a 1-word comparison, but I won't say it here. I've said it on X. Dig, dig, dig. Yes. Yes, there is one. There is a 1-word. Yes. I won't say it either.
Absolutely.
It's too, I'll tell you guys when we're off here. It's too coincidental. How's that?
It's usually the way. So, okay, so we know the North is crazy. We know there's a lot of experiences, a lot of energy. We've had a lot of tales up there. Wayne had mentioned a story to me before about someone he knew who should drive truck up there. I think I've told you this story before. And he was coming down from the out near Wawa, all the way down to, maybe you're familiar with this area. And there's an area where you come down and you're near closer to Sault Ste. Marie, but it's still pretty isolated. And there's a huge diner out there. And this goes back like quite some time ago. He pulls his truck in. He goes in. There's all of this food on tables. There's stuff cooking on the grills in the back. There's nobody cooking them, but the stuff cooking on the grills. Cars in the parking lot. No sign of anyone. Lights are on. He took a walk around. There's nobody out there. Took a flashlight, looked down, into the woods. It's like, what's going on? Called 911 and then hightailed it out of there and said, there's a situation here. I don't know where everybody went, but there is food cooking on the grill. There's pots on the stoves. There's
plates of food on the tables.
Onto the tables, and people are nowhere.
He wrote that in chat. Does that sound
that's right.
to you, Kerrilynn, like a mass abduction?
Kira's like, I don't want to know.
Don't worry, I've got you, honey. Don't worry.
So I
remember
a
that day.
1,000 question kind of person. I'm a 1,000 question kind of person. So did the police follow up? Is there an actual report made? Did people show up later? What's the follow-up to that? Like, those are the questions that I have from it right before I start speculating, but
we don't know.
Mass fall,
he stopped
mass abduction, it's something.
Yeah.
It's really bizarre to, I was reading it, and then he said there was not in the time of cell phones, so he actually had to call the police from another town. Yeah,
right.
But he had to go to another town.
That was his instinct, because I knew this guy, and that was his instinct. He goes, everything in my fiber told me just to get out of there, and that's when he called 911.
Yeah, because there's not far from that place, there's a pullover with like the locked garbage cans that you can put your stuff in. There was bell phones along the side of the highway there.
Wow. Yeah. The safety, they have them. Yes. But I don't know if that's what he meant when he said that. But I just wonder, let's look at it from an ET perspective. I mean, I have 100 different other things it could have been, but let's look at it this way, because this one's really hard to explain when you have that many people missing and all these cars in there, and you're not hearing voices when you go out there. So no one's being restrained.
A time slip, right? Because
that's what I was going to say.
Food on the table. There was stuff cooking in the back.
That's what I was going to say.
Pots are boiling. Music's playing. It's almost as though they just went.
We have time slips in restaurants when we're together.
Right.
Hours and hours go by and we don't know how. No, I think that's a really, really, really
Kerrilynn,
big possibility.
So what would it feel like? I guess because now I have more questions.
That's okay.
Because I've been in the car, so particularly with my daughter, when we're in the car, and it feels like I have fallen backwards in my seat, but we're just but I have fallen backwards. And I turned to her and go, what the hell was that? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, because she did not have the experience that I was having. In feeling like I don't, like if you hit your brakes too hard, you pump them, that movement.
Yeah.
And like, did you not just feel us move backwards?
So like you just came back into your own body. Yeah.
Weird stuff.
Astral.
Missing time. It's a really interesting area, especially so close to Lake Superior. And when you're up at the top like that, it's a whole other world up there. The energy feels different. Everything feels different. And there's so many stories that come out of there. But, you fast forward and you move to where you are now, which has equally as many phenomenal stories. Have you ever heard the story of the wolf people up in your area?
In the Guelph area? I did not until you told me.
And
I still cannot find, and I have been on chats. I've asked people. No one is coming forward to talk to me about it.
It's 2 stories that have come out of that exact area that was told to me, and they almost mirrored one another. And to recount the story, just for people who are listening, it was the town of Elora, very old. A pioneer highway went through there, really old homes, and the woman who told me, she says, when I was about 13 years old, between 13, I think the other girl said she was 16, but she had just heard stories from her family. But this girl said she wanted to go. Her grandparents had a large farm. She goes, and she saw the tree line. There was a forest, and she always wanted to go towards the forest. And the grandmother said, don't go near there. The wolf people live there. And she was just like, okay. She goes, I heard this story my whole life, thinking that they were just trying to keep me out of the forest, right?
Riding Hood is real.
And one day, she walked, she goes, I was halfway through the acreage. And then when I looked on the horizon, there were 5 what looked like canine type, heads and such walking upright. They were tall and lanky, and they were along the tree line, walking on the edge of the forest and the acreage. And she said, and it's the only time I've ever seen them. I was like, wow. Because we hear those stories here. I mean, Burlington has them. Niagara has them.
No, thank God I've never seen it.
Beast of Port Robinson.
Yeah, see.
What do you mean? Thank God I've never seen. I'm like, okay, take me. I want to see
the dogmen. What if they like attack you?
Hopefully somebody's got a camera.
I think werewolves. I think werewolves when I hear that,
Well, Ron talked about it last night. The Beast of Bray Road.
Yeah. I had Eric Mantel on, and he was talking about it, his investigation there as well too. And lots of freaky things happen. The only experience I've had similar to, I was north of Sault Ste. Marie, and I had gone to 2 different cemeteries with friends from the reserve, and we were on the reserve at the time when it happened, and we could hear, it sounded almost like horses were coming up at us, like on to us. And then we could see eye shine in the trees, and then we just heard huffing, like it sounded huffing, just this heavy huffing. And they felt it was a shapeshifter, and it was time for us to go, so we left that area right away. So that's whether it's wolfman, shapeshifter, I don't know what
there's been sightings of them everywhere.
They said they did not, but it sounded like clopping of horses, like running really fast, rushing us.
Like a gallop, or was it like a loping?
No, like a gallop, like it was.
Yeah. See, to me, that's crazy, because I've heard people say that they have seen these beasts, these beings, I guess I should be a better thing to say, where they are, it looks like they're loping like this. And they're, when you gallop a horse, like their legs aren't always the same, right? Whereas these are like the same, and then they just stop, and then they just stand up.
So we couldn't see because it was so dark where we were where we were in that cemetery. And the cemetery, there's 2 cemeteries there. So the one we were at was like the 1800s, from when,
Right.
White people show up and they're going to bring Christianity to the place. So that was the cemetery
Pioneers.
that we were at. Yeah. So that's where we were. And it like they were rushing. That's the best word I can say, is that they were rushing.
Once you see them, you can't unsee it. Nope. Dragons and gargoyles. I was just saying this last night. I want a dragon.
I like dragons and I love gargoyles. I think that was like my favorite part of Game of Thrones were the dragons. I wanted one.
Mm-hmm.
But gargoyles I think they're amazing. I think that the one creature on our earth that looks the most like a gargoyle has to be a cane corso. The big black, they're like 140 or 150 pounds. The only reason why I won't get one is because they slobber everywhere. Love the dogs, but that's slobber. Anyone who's a cane corso, mom has rags everywhere to clean that up. Like it gets everywhere. But they're fierce dogs, and they're built like gargoyles. The big head, they're all black, like a midnight black, and they're just stunning creatures. But gargoyles,
or just get a gargoyle. Yeah,
I would love a gargoyle because they can fly. But yeah, these kind of mystical things I'm so into seeing. But not the fairies.
Not into fairies?
No, I love them, but they can be mischievous.
Oh, Yeah, but you've not seen a gargoyle or not seen a dragon. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that.
No, it's not what she's saying. We're just gonna. Just said, I was like, I'm gonna leave that right there.
I've never seen a dragon. How's that? I can't say I've ever seen a dragon. I mean, we walk on the other side, so you're going to see things, right?
Yeah.
Dragons don't live there on that side.
They're there.
Well,
they're there. They come
So
through.
I've seen a dragon though.
Over the Appalachians. Cool. They were there. Adirondacks, rather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where did you see your dragon?
I saw it overseas.
Right.
That's where
I saw it. Yes.
Makes sense. Do they go into the water too?
Yes.
Like Loch Ness?
Portals. Ever wonder why you don't see them in Loch Ness? They keep telling you Loch Ness cannot support an animal this big because maybe it's coming in and out of portals.
A portal inside that water, and you can't even see into the water. It's so black. Like, how would they know anything that's down there? You can't go down there as a diver. It's unsafe. We don't know what's growing down in Loch Ness. Like, nobody knows.
No way out.
That water is blacker than the Baltic Sea. Like, it's just anyone. Nick Redfern said you couldn't see anyways. No. I agree with the portal thing, though.
I think, if enough people are putting the intention into something, they're going to create it. If enough people,
Telpa, Slender Man.
Let's try to create peace then.
Yeah, that was fully person created in a chat room. Hard to imagine because there were people having sightings of that everywhere. And the more they gave it personality, the sightings that were seen had this new personality.
That's how cults
form.
Yeah, cults form in the same manner. It's all mindset and energy and a collectiveness. That's how cults work. That's why they drank the Kool-Aid. They all believed it. But yeah, very much so. Slenderman was scary. That created, that was really scary. I mean, a young girl almost lost her life because of it. And all because somebody at university was sitting in a chat room and wanted to have some fun.
But it took more that one person started, but everybody collectively. It was the collective energy is what created
Absolutely. It. But this young girl believed that if she killed her friend, that she would live in a castle with lots of presents and candy. So you don't know how she's obviously not well. She's in a facility. She has been since then. But, that's what I'm saying. Like things like that. All I'll say is when it comes to stuff like that, try to talk to your kids about it being a story or a tulpa or how this thing can, manifest in such a different way.
That's where really, when I started working, doing this full time, it was with children. I had a different radio show like an online radio show, and it was for supporting families with children who were intuitive because I didn't have that. So my focus has always been about supporting and helping kids be empowered in that and knowing the difference. And discernment is so important for them to understand as well too. Right?
That's beautiful that you're doing that. Yeah,
it still is a big thing for me.
I think it's important because children are often made. I won't say in every situation, I'm glad I didn't come from that type of a family. I was not that type of a parent. I know you weren't that type of a parent. Millie wasn't that type of parent. I mean, we came from supportive families, but you know what? Well, your father was though, right? But the thing is how many people, will tell you when they grew up and they talked about seeing things or having imaginary friends that they were told, don't be stupid. There's no such thing. Don't talk about it. And then you can get into serious trouble because you're the one who's supposed to be protecting your child. And if your child can't feel that they can come to you because there's something going on and they're seeing things and they just don't understand it, the only way they can describe it is, well, I have an imaginary friend and being befriended by something that may be good or may not be good. Then what?
Exactly. And then the chaos, if it's not a good thing, that's where the chaos gets weaved in, and the chaos gets spread out and created, right? It just gets bigger. So teaching them that discernment and understanding the difference really is so important.
Were you able to, like, in working with families, were you able to, I mean, it's so hard. How do you say to a parent, don't do that. You can't talk to your kids like that. Like there's something going on here. Like you can't always, I guess the best way to put it is teach an old dog new tricks, where children are just so open-minded, like they haven't been corrupted by life yet. When I say corrupted, it's more like, the baggage that life hands you, schooling and jobs and responsibility, which sometimes takes away from their natural abilities.
I think for me, the parents that I've been able to connect with I think the biggest aha for them was looking at, when asked a few questions, actually had their own experiences as well too, and understanding that their kid just didn't pop into this timeline within the family structure, having these gifts from nowhere, that it's in other places as well too. And let's explore this and have more open conversations. So I didn't necessarily run into a lot of, not too much backlash, but definitely more, and not to hack on men, but the dads a little more so than the moms. And
that's funny. Yeah.
Not wanting to be open. And then
the logic.
And then once they get there, they're super supportive and wanting to be on board and helping their kiddos. Right. And it's never a lot. Like once you give them tools, it's these easy, it's an easier way of being. And when you approach it as like your home should be the sanctuary where they feel safe, it's hard enough as soon as you step outside the door of the things that you get bombarded with. So if your kiddo is not presenting as a liar in any other way, why would this be?
No, it's true.
Want to believe, right?
And if you have a real persistent, spirits, I mean, spirits don't always discern when they're in trouble. That child or that medium, they're the light. They're the light in the darkness. They don't always realize that, no, this child can't help you. And having to work on boundaries. Have you been able to work with children to say, okay, set those boundaries, and because it's hard to communicate. How do you tell them that this is really a spirit and maybe this is maybe where you're being tricked?
Wow.
Like, how did you find that? That's a hard one, but a lot of kids get tricked
with something that's darker. You mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just haven't had a lot of kids with having that where they're getting tricked in anything.
You're lucky.
So,
yeah.
Mostly that it has been spirits as well. So giving them those boundaries was easier, and making sure that they understood those words and how to have the parent in on it with them as well too. So I didn't have to deal with a lot of I haven't yet had to. It's mostly been spirits. And for me, when tapping into it's a neighbor that died, an elderly neighbor from 2 doors down that needed to cross over, those sort of things. So able to help that way, not necessarily anything that was malevolent in any way.
Right. We're going to hold that thought.
Actually, I think that happened once, and I sent them to you.
Thanks.
Oh yeah, no, I don't think that.
A long time ago.
It was a long time ago.
I remember.
It was about 11 years ago. So yeah. And I don't. That doesn't cross my path very often.
Right. We're going to hold that thought and do a station and sponsor ID. And then we will come right back to that.
Yeah, that water salty dinner. You're hearing me say that a lot. I've been craving the salt. I don't know. Something's weird. I don't know. Anyways, you are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans. on 107.7 FM, as well as on the Gulf Coast on 105.3 FM radio. We're live on Roku channel and archived as well. Our special guest tonight is Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and she is also a host on UPRN as well. Her show is called Spirit Switchboard, and it's on Fridays, right? Am I right?
Yep.
Fridays, what time? Give us the time.
At 6 p.m. Eastern time.
6 p.m. And she also has her own YouTube channel where you can watch her shows. I will step back and you can give them your YouTube channel name. I know we do this at the end, but you're extra special.
Oh, thanks. So it's actually just, Kerrilynn Shellhorn, and then it's the Spirit Switchboard. So you can look.
Perfect. See, so you can catch her archives and her live shows on Fridays or any day that you have that time to listen to her. She's fantastic, as you can see from all her energy here. She's an incredible woman and easy to listen to, and a lot of knowledge coming there. I hear you've got amazing guests. We've talked a little bit about them, and we've talked a little bit high strangeness and what it's like living in Northern Ontario for her when she had that time in her experiences and classes. And we still have more time. If you're just tuning in, don't worry, because you can stream our archives on any platform that you normally use. Search United Public Radio and then The Outer Realm to find us. Remember to click like and subscribe. Add us to your playlist so you never miss an episode, and kindly share us with your friends and family. Tonight and every night since the beginning of The Outer Realm, it's fully sponsored by Folgers Coffee. Thank you for your continued support in sponsoring our show. I am so rusty from not being here. Please forgive me as I go through here and I keep stumbling. Our fabulous banner and promo media is courtesy of Steve McGinnis, horror illustrator. He's a fantastic artist who also creates commissioned pieces, and he can be found on Facebook. Our intro and outro is courtesy of Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, award-winning composer, vocalist, and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp and practically any streaming platform that you use. Also, you can find him on Facebook and Instagram, where he's dropping his music daily with his little videos that are really cool. And you can use his music, search Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, while you're creating your stories. Lastly, a kindly reminder, if you're watching us right now on Facebook, give us a like, join our group. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a like and hit that subscribe button.
All right. And we are back with Kerrilynn. So picking back up where we left off and dealing with people, do you find that most families are receptive, in coming to terms with the fact that their children are intuitive? I mean, we saw a lot of this. I mean, they used to have the show Psychic Kids that was on, and I used to find that, right? I love that show.
I love that show.
Yeah.
That's when I had my radio show, was right when that was happening. So
perfect timing. Yeah.
And they had parents who really struggled. Like you had those who were really supportive, but then you just had some that just wanted nothing to do with it. Maybe it was conditioning of faith or things like that. So
I've had both, and I still come back to and how I have those conversations. It's somewhere where there's healing needing to happen for those adults, right? And
right.
In order to be open-minded to their kiddos. And but I find for the most part, when parents are coming to me, or by the time they come to me, they're ready for that support.
Okay.
They are ready for answers and help and guidance. And when they see that it doesn't have to be like an elephant in the room everywhere they go, that this can be something that is normal and has a beautiful 24/7 flow that's easy, and their child is actually more empowered when they can embrace it. It's the conversations are not combative in any way.
Right. And do you find that at least one of the parents is most likely intuitive as well?
Oh,
maybe they can learn along with the child.
Yeah. And that's where the aha moments come, when I start asking those questions, or having somebody that's a family member that's in spirit coming through, talking through me to them. this is what they're showing me. If I come back to this age, this is an experience that happened to you. And I'm sorry that it got shut down for you. And let's maybe explore this together as a family, right?
Nice.
Right. So I find that interesting, that just that comment that it shut down for you, because we find, I think, it does shut down for so many people. And sometimes it's just a matter of tapping back in, like getting back on the bicycle, as they say.
Well, you use it or lose it, right?
Right.
It is a muscle. You either, the more that you tap in, the stronger the muscle gets, or if you choose to not use it, you are going to lose it. So
right.
Well, I don't know necessarily lose it, but I find the people that try to push back physically make themselves sick. Like they physically make themselves sick by not allowing it to be. So and that comes up with the parents. So
it always does, right? Yeah. It always does. It always does.
Yeah. I think some men have trouble with it because they're, especially our generation, because they were raised to be the protector, and it's hard to protect your child from something they cannot see or understand. Yeah. And that's great that you can have that conversation with them and make them feel at ease and more relaxed and understand what their child is seeing. I think they always go to the worst case scenario, right? Demonic. It's bred in us on television as well. Yeah.
Media certainly doesn't help with that at all. And when you can have those conversations where sometimes the stuff that's happening in the house because something is being repressed, and if you can focus on this and take accountability, then a lot of those sort of experiences will stop.
Like psychokinesis, just projecting out, right?
Yes. Yeah. I just had that conversation with someone today.
Oh, I was just going to ask you if you had that conversation, because it can be difficult.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It was maybe not as well received today. For sure.
It's really difficult. It is. You know what? I find the easiest way to do it, because people do project energy. It's easier for them to think that there's something malevolent going on in the house or something really active going on in the house. And it is for them to realize I'm a pretty powerful being. Like we as people, we're powerful beings with energy. If we can focus it. Can you imagine if you could focus it and do these incredible things with it? So I'll usually send links.
Ghost maybe in the subway when he moves the can.
Right. That's right. That's right. You're a powerful being. You can do it. No, but I find it's easier to send a link to people and say, if you see yourself in this, just let me know. We'll talk about it.
So I think, like, when I'm working, I'm always, regardless of however the intention, whatever the intention is, when I'm working, for me personally, it's setting the intention that's in the highest good, greatest interest of the most amount of healing every single time. Highest good, say the spiel to everybody. And so what I find happens in that situation is I get shown where traumas have happened for those parents in their history. So here's where some things happen for you. And so this is where we're going to start. And then we're going to move forward, and that will help you here. So
right. I find that I can only speak for my own upbringing, but my mother was always open. My father didn't want to go there, but I'll tell you something. As he got older, when I became an adult, then all of a sudden it changed for my father. It's almost like when you're a child, they don't want to go there. They don't want to think that there's any chance that they really do think it's your imagination. They just don't want to give that credit. As an adult, my father would tell me about all kinds of paranormal experiences, extraterrestrial, like seeing UFOs. And I'm just sitting there going, you made me feel like I was losing my mind as a child. And I love my father. And, goes, oh yeah, we'd smell things, like Bigfoot's all pungent and stuff like that. Because they go, right? Yeah. Well, they go to the woods, they go hunting. You just,
my grandpa used to say old trappers never die, they smell like it, and then Sasquatches were worse, right? Like
See?
Bigfoots
See?
were worse.
Right. But that's hard to take, when as an adult, then they're finally giving it to you.
For me, in the perspective within my family structure, my great grandfather, so my dad's grandfather, used to read tea leaves. He used to, but it wasn't really talked about. Like it just wasn't talked about, and I didn't know about it until I was in my early 20s. I think for me, because the situation was so volatile, I just was not. It didn't feel safe to be vulnerable to talk about certain things.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because the environment was what it was. Right. And so very much focused on having a different environment for my children to talk about. And that's the perspective that I have when I'm working with other people, is creating that safe environment. Your home should be your safe place.
Right.
Always.
Now, did you project? Would you project out energy as a child because you couldn't talk about it?
Like lights,
like projecting out, like creating, poltergeist activity, just psychokinesis on everybody's butts and right.
Yeah, I still can, when you're walking down the street and the street lamps go out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm just talking about messing with the family unit a little bit more. Oh yeah. No, but we project, because I projected a lot as a child. My daughter projected a lot.
Yes.
As well.
I would say yes to that.
Right.
Ooh.
Right.
I don't know if I did, because I was told that people would think I was nuts if I talked about it.
That's a big one.
I went through
the family secret. You can't talk about it.
It wasn't a family secret. My mother said people were going to think you're crazy. She never acknowledged me. My dad didn't until she passed away. So I was 27 before. And then he wanted to see a psychic to communicate with my mom. But my dad never interfered with. He was the old school that the mother disciplined the child. He went to work. This is a man who was born in 1930. It's a different time. He grew up in the war with the Nazi war. Mm-hmm. And it was just like that. He's 4 boys, and his dad passed away when he was 20. So his mom was a very young widow, and he cherished and loved his mother, and that's how he was with my mom. So it was all that mommy knows best kind of thing. And he never got involved, but I think she hid a lot of it as well. And I too started mentoring kids years ago. I haven't done it in a long time. I needed a break because I was working with missing children and it was killing me. But
yes,
I always, it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. It takes a lot out of you. I think I know that when they come to you, and as you said, it's always like the last thing, their last kind of shot. They're just grateful it's not dark, and they're grateful that you can speak to them and they can, get some answers. And especially for the kids, I find that this generation raising children is not our parents' generation.
Yeah, it's changing for sure.
Very much so. Where our parents' generation, also my mom, devout Catholic, my great grandmother was shunned by the church. Last thing my mother wanted to know was that I was gifted or more than her grandmother. What will happen? Well, I wasn't able to go into a couple of churches when I moved here. That stuff happens. But I think, oh my God, just that you're mentoring kids.
That happens dating. Let's just go there too.
I just thought I had a good judgment.
He met me just to tell me that I was cursed by God 10 generations back on my dad's side. So it wasn't like because he wanted to have a nice date. The only reason he was to tell me that I was cursed by.
Wow.
I wonder what he thinks now.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, I'm just saying it would be so funny because you're successful and it's
so, wow. I just think,
my God.
But I do feel
Wow.
there's more conversations. It's more in the media. It's more on TV. You know, whether we like some of those ghosty shows that are on there or not, they are pushing a conversation. At least it's coming to the forefront where we can have conversations. We can have, yeah. The generation underneath us is different for sure.
There's always good and bad from everything. As much as I hate, it's terrible, but I really don't like the paranormal shows and I don't watch them. There's a lot of good, like you said, that comes out of it as well, because it does. You're right. Opens the conversation
when you're living it every day too. Like I don't want to watch the stuff that I'm having to do every day.
Right.
When I stopped filming, I stopped watching, and I never watched myself. I never liked to watch myself ever. People would always send me snippets of myself. I'd be like, oh gosh, what? Thank you. But, but no, I think the interest just changed. And now I feel it's just all been done repeatedly.
Yes. But I feel having those conversations, and a lot more has changed. We talk about mental health more openly. We talk about receiving support more openly. So these kind of conversations are easier to have now.
I agree with you. And do you find now, even with belief systems and faith, people of faith have more of a willingness to think outside the box?
Yeah, for sure. There's I'm noticing from my perspective, and even people that are coming out to events that I do are different faith backgrounds, and people that are working in organized religion are coming out. So I don't know.
Right.
I had doctors, which is super weird, ask me to, come out to their staff Christmas party about 10 years ago, which I thought all these science-based people are wanting someone like me to do an event for them.
My family doctor is my biggest fan.
Yeah.
My family doctor just loves it.
Yeah.
My doctor used to say, they do become friends. And when we had something going on, he goes, I remember him saying, what was the last case you worked on? Have you given that any thought? Blah, 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 blah. And I looked at him and I went, no. Why would I think that something I worked on could affect what's happening to my daughter? And it was full, all of that. So, I thought, oh my God, I love it when people of different academic backgrounds could open themselves up to something like saying, come and do an event. And I think it's great. And it's interesting how some people of faith are just, we don't believe in ghosts. We don't believe in this. You don't believe in that. Everything's a demon, but they will come to you for a reading.
Oh yeah. But it's quiet. Like I am
maybe that's what it is. Nobody knows about it.
Exactly.
Right?
I am used to being the secret.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah,
no, but it's so fascinating to me because it's like the belief system partially paralyzes you with thought, and yet the willingness to expose themselves in a way,
and cultural too, like not, it doesn't necessarily have to be organized.
Believe cultural, yes,
a cultural belief as
yes,
well too.
Yes, yeah. I know
that it's something bad, and I'm like, if I am cursed 10 generations back, I seem to be doing a lot of good for that curse. Like if I really am doing the devil's work.
I lost friends because I didn't come out of that kind of closet until I had a few near-death experiences, and I lost
a
friends.
Few. Yeah.
Most of them were in one day. So, but I lost friends. That's what I was told.
They weren't really.
I know that. It was so hurtful because I'm trying to manage something that I've tried to shut down since my 20s, and I can't now. It's like the floodgates were opened, and you've been my friend for how many years, and now you think I'm cursed? Really? I'm the same person I was all those years. For 10 years, I'm the same person. Just didn't say anything. But
It's a different. We're in a different world now.
And
Right,
if we
different
go by
times.
vibration and all of that anyway, if you were opening up and they were choosing to stay stuck, you would have outgrown them. It's like ripping the Band-Aid off faster. Really,
Right.
if
Yeah,
they're
I know.
choosing
I
to
see that
step
now.
away, right?
I see that
Right.
now when it's all happening. It's like, oh my God, I'm having enough trouble just trying to figure it out. And I never wanted to say anything to him. It wasn't even me who told him. I wasn't ready. And I was just like shocked.
That's
Just
very
really a lot of drama. And I'm much better for it now. It's fine. It doesn't bother me anymore. I just, for people who are going through the experience, just sharing so that you understand it happens.
I find like
I
find my daughter and I had this conversation actually last week, where she doesn't necessarily tell people what it is that I do. She said now she has fun coming up with a fake story to tell people what they do.
Oh, great. She loved that.
She's like, sometimes I just don't have the mental energy and space to try to deal with whatever they've got going on regarding that, right? So she's like, sometimes you can judge where she can have the conversation, but I have fun trying to make up a backstory to what your job is.
Well, you're on radio now, so it's going to be tough.
I'm a radio host.
So my sister ran into one of our grade 7-8 teachers, and he asked about me, and my sister told him I was in communications.
She wasn't wrong.
Yeah.
She wasn't lying.
That's funny.
We still have some, you know.
That's very funny, actually.
I thought it was super funny
So
too.
quippy, yeah.
And that's what I told my daughter, right? You could always say what Aunt Christy says, and
that's really cute.
Communications.
It's hard I think for the kids, it's a different thing, right? Because they're still trying. My daughter now, she's going to be 27 in September. It's different. But when she was younger, yeah.
The girls are the same. My daughter will be 27 in August.
Oh my gosh. A month apart. When in August?
The 25th.
Oh my God. My husband's the 22nd. So they're both, pretty close. I think he's a Virgo, even though he's a Leo. I still think he's Virgo.
Yeah. I love my Virgo.
Yeah.
I'm a Leo.
Male Virgos are different than female Virgos. And I know that because my brother's a male Virgo. They're just different. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm just starting to understand astrology a little bit more then.
Oh, me too. I don't know too much about it. We had oh my God, what's his name?
Priscilla was on, and I will connect you with somebody if you wanted to do a radio show with someone who's like amazing astrologist.
Astrology. I had Joni Templeton.
Okay, that's right. You did. Right.
Forensic astrology, which was a whole other. It was fascinating. So we could talk about true crime and astrology. It was amazing. But for sure, I'd love to have somebody else on about astrology. The more people we have on, we learn every time, right? Like we're always learning with every guest. It's something. There's some kind of gold nugget with like each one of them.
Right. Here's a comment.
Yes, faith-inspired transformation. I live in a community and household with people of the tangible world. I'm proudly the weirdo in the room. I feel blessed that I see the contrast right before my eyes. Me too.
So is this becoming the new norm? Just, being open-minded and having an acceptance of the unnatural, which really, I feel, to us, it's the natural world, but to others, it would be considered the unnatural world, but they have a willingness now to step into it.
There's some that I feel I notice, some that are honestly stepping into it and being open-minded, and then there's some that are using the buzzwords because it's in and not necessarily really in.
That's just so wrong.
Right.
But you can feel the difference, right? Like you can feel the difference between someone who's
sincere.
I think, I don't know. I think there's a shift change that's happening. Do you notice that? And
more people are talking about it, or more people wanting to dig deep.
Right. Do you think it's because maybe we live in the time where people just want not so much real answers, but just different answers?
Exactly, different answers. And I think that it's more apparent, light and dark. The
Right.
contrast in being able to see the light and dark is very apparent now. It's not as hidden anymore. There's a lot of stuff that's not as hidden anymore.
Right. I think that's the key. But with media and having just so many different perspectives of the same topic. I mean, we could say paranormal. I think ufology is really taking that step and speaking of disclosure and slowly inching us into, or some people, because some of us are pretty open to it, but inching them into the possibility that no, there is something greater. Then you talk, that leads you to consciousness, that leads you to frequency, vibration, like the whole.
So I still come back to, like, a big part in helping people is giving them the tools and understanding discernment, so that when they are researching and digging deep, that discernment and what feels in alignment and truthful to them, so that they can start telling those difference, right?
No. They need more JoJo. Oh, that's a producer. For anybody wondering. Now you know what we all.
You notice we don't really react that much because we're so used to it.
I was watching, Joe. I was watching your show the other night and commenting, and you were ignoring me. Just saying.
Then it was maybe it wasn't live.
I was in that chat.
Maybe it wasn't live, because when it's live, he catches.
I think I was on Facebook, and it wasn't probably.
You weren't in his imaginary chat room. He has his own chat room.
Maybe that's why you weren't there.
About it.
Because I was teasing, not Sean Kelly, the other Sean, because he was complaining at the moment about how the network was, and it was a couple of days after I had gone in to set my show up, and his stuff was up, and I didn't know how to change it, and I had to SOS Michelle. SOS. I don't know what I'm doing.
We have a host complaining about how the network is. Oh,
I don't know how to do this.
Right. That's okay. Yeah.
It was when you had everybody on.
Right.
I've never done it.
When? See, it's okay. We'll do with you after the show, mister. But Contessa's comment.
I love that name. I think it's more out there, especially since social media. Yes.
Well, yeah, I think it's a big part.
You're still having to weed through not necessarily fact-based opinions. Like, you're still having to weed through things that are not evidential, just opinions that go nowhere in circles. So again, about discernment, right? Being able to research in a way where you're researching from the right perspective and from the right sources too.
Well, plus there's a lot of infighting. I'm noticing as well. Like, I notice more of it on social media. I don't get on social media very much. So when I see something come up, like, whoa, how have I been missing? Just a whole lot of.
There's been some big battles in the last couple of weeks.
There's been some really big stuff. And I think that makes it a little bit harder.
There's always going to be ego, though.
I know. I didn't even know who they were talking about. So I felt like, am I out of the loop? Like, all these hundreds of comments on this one person's post. I'm
okay about being out of the loop.
I'm okay with it too, but I needed to know who it was to make sure we didn't have this person upcoming on our show. So I messaged, because they were just using initials, and I messaged one of my friends. I'm like, who the F is this?
Right.
I don't want to know what's going on. I just want to know who this is, making sure we don't have this person booked, because this person is someone big in the community. So it threw me. I'm like, wait a minute.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
It's more for that, the protection of the show, not to get involved. I don't need anyone else's drama. I have enough of it in my own life.
They'll see the bottom of my shoes while I'm running away. It's the only time I'll run away from drama.
No, unless it's a dear friend that needs my help, I want no part of it.
It really doesn't help, though, when people are coming on and they're trying to find credibility somewhere in not just this field, but in a lot of different fields. And you see so much of that. I've noticed it with a few different people talking about different people, and I mean, I'm quite taken aback with one that I was listening to in the UK. I'm like, where did all this come from? It's just, you can disagree with people. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to do anything like that. But belittling an entire community is a little bit rough. So I just think it sends out a lot of vibes, and everyone's entitled to their own perspective. And I just think it's important to remember that there are people who want to learn more. And I just think it's important that you put something positive out there, whether you agree to not agree to disagree, whatever the case may be. Just remember, there are people who are watching, and they want to learn more, and they're interested.
Oh my gosh.
And you can have constructive conversations and
absolutely
and different perspectives, and communication doesn't have to be like confrontation. You can communicate without confrontation.
Yeah, that's ego.
Yeah.
Ego is confrontation.
So, Kerrilynn, what do you have coming up, and how do people find you? It's that time.
Yeah, so KerrilynShellhorn.com, on Facebook, Instagram, Friday nights, UPRN, 6 p.m., Spirit Switchboard.
Who's your guest this week? Oh, you have a pre-record
with Jacqueline Goldman from Guelph Urbex, who's actually we're doing a little bit of a ghost walk with her this Saturday on a private thing. Yeah, so that works out really well. So
it's not a replay if they haven't seen it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm going to be at the Paracon, at the Lake Superior Paracon in October in Thunder Bay. If anybody does want to check out all the weirdness, that's going to be a good opportunity to do that. Is to head up to Thunder Bay.
Right.
Jeff Belanger is going to be there, so I'm going to have all weekend to practice saying his name. So you get the Canadian way. I might get him a t-shirt.
That's it. That's it. You have to give us a little bit of a wide berth there. We have our own language going on up here.
To be honest, I have all the events that I have going on this year are already sold out, which is very humbling to say.
Oh, excellent. Congratulations.
Yeah,
that's
great.
So very well deserved.
I have theater events that are coming up that I haven't put the tickets up, but you'll have to watch like the website. If you sign up for the newsletter, you get all the heads up ahead of time for that.
Nice.
Right. Which is fantastic. I love that you've joined us tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks
and
have to have you back when we do our open mic.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Our chat room is wonderful. I mean, everybody's pretty interactive. Open mic night just seems to do phenomenally well, to the point where we started doing one once a month because they just wanted one more. We're like, all right, we shall answer the call. We just do it, darn it. So anyway, but of course, every show comes to an end, and here we are. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thanks to everybody in chat room. We notice you've got, a few Kerrilynn's people. So thank you for tuning in. You guys are awesome. You make it that much more fun. Big thank you, of course, to Kerrilynn Shellhorn for joining us this evening. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee for sponsoring tonight's show and all of our shows. We appreciate you so very much. Big thank you, Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of your voice, your music, and your time for the intro that you all hear. Big thank you to Steve McGinnis for the artwork behind the logos here and the banners at the show. Big thank you, United Public Radio Network 105.3, 107.7 FM. We appreciate you. We know you love us, Joe. No, you remember who your favorites are right here. Anyway. Exactly. And guys, remember, please check out Contact and Disclosure Symposium 2024, April 20th. Go check them out. Let me just see. Hold on. Let me just grab a couple of banners. I did put this up, but let me just do this again so you guys have it. Okay, there we are. So contact and disclosuresymposium.com. Go check them out. You can get tickets there. You can see who their guests are. It's going to be their first event. It's going to be great. We're sponsoring them. The network is sponsoring them. So check it out. Also, of course, the Halifax Paranormal Symposium, year 2 for the Outer Realm sponsorship. And there's Saturday, October the 12th, Halifax Tower Hotel and Conference Center. And again, it's a day thing, 9 till 6. So check them out. Next week, here we go. Joshua Shapiro returns. He's going to be discussing UFOs, enlightenment, a lot of what we're talking about right now, things that are going on with all of this and how people are feeling about it. And, you know, it's probably going to be really in-depth, sort of emotional type of show, but it's going to be awesome. Joshua's wonderful. Thursday night, we welcome back Michael Laflemme for part 2 of his fascinating book, Visions of Atlantis, Reclaiming Our Lost Ancient Legacy. And it was like through the roof. Like I think even his SoundCloud archive is about close to 900K right now. Like people really love this Atlantis stuff. And he is wonderful. He really is. So you guys will have to come back and check that out. I will put up and feature his first show so you guys can just recap. And if you haven't seen it, it'll definitely give you guys an idea of what to expect. So one last comment. Thank you.
Yes, Faith Inspired. Do you want me to read it or?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't get to listen live very often. I'm glad I did this time. Thanks for the great convo. Good night. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, lots of great comments. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter, everybody. Happy Easter. Be safe if you're traveling this week. It is a long weekend. Roads get a little bit chaotic. So enjoy your families and
be patient.
Be patient. And if you celebrate, enjoy. Good night.
Bye.